Here's what's on today's Alabama football report. The latest on Ryan Williams with some positive trends in that direction. Some Jabbar Muhammad rumors, and ESPN revealed their way too early All-American team, several Bama players on that list. Before we get into it, only 13% of you have your subs turned on for all notifications. Meaning, if you are subscribed, when you first do it, YouTube defaults you to personalized. So you will not get a push every single time there's a Bama video. It's just however YouTube feels like doing it that day based on their algorithm. So if you make sure you never want to miss an Alabama football video, go back to where you first subscribed. Click that icon again, change your notifications from personalized to all, and never miss an Alabama football report video. Of note for five-star wide receiver Ryan Williams, he has canceled his visit to Texas, which I actually was surprised to see, given the success of Steve Sarkisian, etc., at Texas. Williams had previously said this: I think once I come back from this Texas visit, I'll have a better idea. Just being the last place I haven't been yet. So I think I'll be closer to that decision. Now, Williams has had interest from Texas, Auburn, A&M, Alabama, LSU. Canceled that visit as well. So you're trimming out those two teams in theory. Meanwhile, he tweeted this out this morning. It's the old hourglass emoji right up there with the eyeball emoji as things to generate hype that really aren't saying anything of note. If I were a top-tier athlete, I'd be doing the exact same shit every day. Meanwhile, the 24/7 Sports crystal ball predictions are changing as well. Corey Fravel, who writes for Clemson's site, picked Bama this morning. Moments before filming, most notably Steve Wilfong, one of the top recruiting analysts at 24/7 Sports, I'd say their biggest one, frankly, picked Bama as well. That had come on the heels of Bud Elliott, who's a national guy, and Josh Edwards for Kentucky, picking Auburn when Nick Saban retired, which clearly was a guess. Come on. The decommitment was going to happen. We thought that. But two notable predictions now in for Alabama for Ryan Williams. Meanwhile, the On3 recruiting prediction machine, again, it's a machine. It's predictions. It's not a lock. Data point. Bama leads the way. Auburn, Texas, and A&M bringing up the rear. That might adjust with the news kind of working its way through the prediction machine for Texas not getting the official visit. What I'm saying is that hope's a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane, and I think there is plenty of understandable and valid hope that Ryan Williams does end up signing with Alabama. Again, I think the Kalen DeBoer hiring ends up being probably a positive thing for wide receivers because he's done a great job in his previous stops. So what is your confidence level that Ryan Williams ends up signing with Alabama? It's today's pinned comment, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. 1 to 10 is your scale. Go vote if the ad comes here on YouTube. On the not-so-positive side, Jabbar Muhammad update. Jerry Hamilton of On3 has now predicted him to go to Oregon. Also worth mentioning that like a week ago, he predicted Texas as the destination. So I guess in a week it'll be Alabama. I'm kidding, of course, there. But again, this is why we don't treat recruiting predictions as gospel, because they're just predictions, and those are wrong. Same way mock drafts are wrong, and recruiting rankings are all wrong. It's all best guesses there. But I do think, based on what Muhammad has said, I think a place like Oregon actually makes a ton of sense for him. Here's what Muhammad said about why he was transferring, what he wants. Quote, I want to be in a stable situation. It's my last year, so I want a lot of stability, and I don't want dysfunction in my last year. Now, I would not say Alabama is dysfunctional. I would say that overhauling your entire coaching staff, all these transfers, is a sign of change and not the stability that Muhammad's looking for. Having the presence of his old head coach does offer some of that, but I think a place like Oregon really stands out as being more stable and less of a move, too. That's a long way to travel, right? Some other Oregon transfers coming in. Kobe Savage, elite name, fun player. Cameron Alexander is not better than Muhammad. I think he'd beat him out pretty easily. And then there's also nickel corner Brandon Johnson coming in from Duke. None of those guys, I think, would prevent Oregon from making room for Muhammad to be a clear-cut starter for them this upcoming season, I should say. Now, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. It's daily fantasy made easy. You pick 2 to 6 player stat projections, more than, less than, on those projections, and fingers crossed, watch those winnings come in. Now, there's no more college football to do on Prize Picks. NFL starting to slow down. NBA and college basketball, however, are available. Here's Producer Chris's picks, He's going just the 2-player prize pick. More than Rylan Griffin points, rebounds, and assists, and more than same stats for Grant Nelson as Alabama takes on Auburn on Wednesday. Chris has not missed on one of these yet. Good time to do it. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. Now, again, I will make note this comes from Texas Inside. So, there's always some vibes on that side here. Here's what they've written about Jabbar Muhammad. Muhammad is looking for one more season to build his draft stock. For some transfer portal prospects, it's about getting a new start at a new place. For others like Muhammad, it's about finding the best spot where he wouldn't likely come off the field too much, i.e. build your draft stock, right? With Oregon and Alabama, he'd likely start and rarely miss reps. With Texas, they already have a strong cornerback room with Malik Muhammad and Terrence Brooks. His reps allocation could ultimately decide where Muhammad plays in 2024. That's not exactly earth-shattering information, but it is valid and explainable and good information to mention as you're going through these potential destinations, etc. Alabama does have snap counts, by the way, available. They've got options. Although, by the way, I would very much argue Terrence Brooks was not that great for Texas, and you could probably carve out a spot for Muhammad over him. Anyway, I digress. Alabama, you got one veteran corner on this team right now. Muhammad could roll in and basically be guaranteed a starting spot because I'm excited about Jalen Mbakwe, Mincy, Brown, all these young players. They are all total unknowns. We have not seen them play a bunch at all in college. Even guys like Tony Mitchell might be a safety for you. Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. is a fun piece. By the way, I will make note, we changed the depth chart. Husky is the new star in this defense. I'd say it's a little bit more of a safety linebacker hybrid than it was like just the safety nickel corner linebacker hybrid, but the role ends up being very similar. It's just got a different designation and name there. But adding a corner, something that makes a lot of sense for Alabama. So where will Muhammad transfer? A for Alabama, T for Texas, or O for Oregon? Get those votes in for me in the comments. Finally, some All-American predictions from ESPN. The way too early All-American list dropped. 2 Alabama players on that list, one of which you know, and one of which you'll get to know. First up was Parker Brailsford. How about that? Yeah, the transfer immediately named a first-team All-American, which makes sense. He was awesome last year as a freshman for Washington. 1 sack allowed, 13 hits or hurries allowed, was the number 2 center in the Pac-12 behind only Jackson Powers Johnson, who might see the first-round pick, or at least top 50 pick, I'd wager, in this upcoming draft. Great run blocker, knows the team, knows the offensive line, or knows the coaching staff, I should say, knows how to run that offense. No complaints there. Number 2 was Deontae Lawson. Yeah, makes sense, don't it? Look, you're adding a talent, you're retaining a talented player who I thought for sure was going to turn pro. Missed some time last year due to injuries. He's back. He's excited to play. He's going to play a huge role in this defense. He is the guy this entire defense will look toward. Ian Malachi Moore of can you lead us through this time of change? I have high expectations on the field and off the field for Lawson. Meanwhile, the second team All-American list. Tyler Booker on the offensive line and James Burnip, the punter. Hopefully not getting too much work this upcoming year, but if he does a good job. So prediction time. Who do you think makes the All-American team for Alabama? We'll do the consensus as best as possible All-American teams in 2024. Drop those player names in the comments section. And if you have not already, please subscribe. More free Bama football videos for you all off season long.